Hey everybody, Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. I've got a lot of gear to talk about today because we're going to talk about quality gear items that are worth purchasing and making part of your backpacking system. Now there's a lot of videos out there and blogs and stuff that talk about cheap gear alternatives or budget gear items that you should purchase instead of expensive items. Now, those are fine and dandy for what they do. And yes, there are a lot of great budget items out there on the market that serve the same purpose, the same concept, and they get people into the backcountry the same way that a $500 tent like this is going to accomplish. So do you have to spend a lot of money on backpacking gear to have a good experience in the backcountry? Absolutely not. However, I have found that in the long term and use of specific gear items, when I invest a little bit more money, I'm getting a better warranty on the product. I'm getting better customer service on the product. I'm also getting better longevity. Just overall quality control of the product is better, and it is worth spending, in my opinion, more money on an item for those particular reasons. And so I'm going to share various gear items here today that are quality, good gear items that some of them have a higher price tag to them. Some of them are lower cost, but they are quality items worth buying. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the first thing. And it happens to be two items, which is a BeFree Katadyn water filter and the HydroPack Seeker 2 2-liter water bag. So the BeFree filter is not something that is new to the market necessarily, but I just started using it this year, 2020, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this the longer that I use it, especially once I paired it with the HydroPack Seeker instead of the Canuck Vecto. The Canuck Vecto with the 42mm threads that matches the BeFree filter did not work out as well as, say, the Sawyer with the 21 or 22mm threads that they have on their, like that Vecto bag. The Seeker has worked out way better than the Vecto. I've enjoyed it more, and collecting water hasn't been overly difficult, but I've really enjoyed it paired with the BeFree a lot more, particularly because you have a hard plastic piece, a collar at the top for the filter to thread onto. You're still able to squeeze and roll the bag the same way that you would with the Vecto, but I have found that this product is a little bit higher in quality, and I've had less issues with it leaking, and anything that I had problems with, like pinhole leaks in my Vecto, the Seeker 2 has been the right pairing for me with the Katadyn BeFree as a filter system. So I've really enjoyed that, and not overly expensive. You can get these cartridges for about 25 bucks, and I think this was about $25. So $50 or so for a really great filter system is not a bad way to go. So continuing with the water filtration mindset, this is not a overly expensive piece of gear. It's about $11 or $12, but this is the Aqua Mira Drops. And this is a great backup system that is a quality, reliable piece of gear to take with you that when you potentially have issues with your water filter, you've still got a way to treat your water to make it safe to drink. So that is a great option for you to take as well. So the next item we'll talk about is Sawyer Picaridin. Now, I did a video pretty recently about the effects that DEET has on various fabric types, and I will never use DEET again, ever. And personally, I have found that the Picaridin lotion is more effective. It has less of a stink to it. It is just a better product in general. And this is cheap, but it is a quality piece to take with you, and you can get these in like little sample pack type of things, one-time use. So you don't have to take a big bottle like this if you don't want to, because this is way more than you would use like on a weekend trip, for example. But Sawyer Picaridin, it's fantastic stuff. The next thing we're going to talk about is two sleeping pads. The first is the Thermarest NeoAir Uberlight. This is a great sleeping pad. For the, I want to say 8 to 10 ounces, depending on which size you get. This thing is super tiny, so it's going to reduce weight and space within your pack. And surprisingly, it's been very comfortable to sleep on. Aside from, depending on different types of fabrics that are used in tent floors, this can be kind of noisy. So I mean, that happens here with the Tensor from Nemo, but specifically the fabric that they use with the Uberlight has a little bit more sound to it. Still kind of that crinkly thing that you get. That's the chip bag sound, but it's not an issue. It's not a big deal. And this is an amazing piece of product that I was pretty hesitant about after so many years of sleeping on the NeoAir X-Lite. I was like, do I really want to sleep on another NeoAir? The issue with this is it's just not quite wide enough. I would like the pad to be a little bit wider, but it's fantastic. So moving on to my absolute favorite sleeping pad of all time, and 100% worth the investment, is the Nemo Tensor. It is heavier than the Thermarest by several ounces. It's right at about a pound, 17 ounces or so, depending on the size that you get, obviously. But this sleeping pad is probably the best sleeping experience that I've had on the trail. I absolutely love this sleeping pad. Moving into shelters, let's talk about two tents that have kind of overwhelmingly surprised me at how much I've enjoyed them. And I shared this in my best and worst shelters video recently, but the Gossamer Gear 1 shelter is a trekking pole style tent, a non-freestanding shelter that I bought on a whim, totally impulse purchase, but I have been shocked at how much I have enjoyed this shelter. It's about $300, and I think that that's a pretty steep price tag for what this particular shelter is. I mean, it's sil nylon, probably should be more in the $225 to $250 range, but it's still, for me, worth that $300 price tag because you get a great pitch every time that you set it up, and I've just really enjoyed it. And then moving on to a full freestanding shelter, this is the Big Agnes Copper Spur HV-UL2, and I'll tell you what, I stayed away from Big Agnes for a long time because a close friend of mine had a poor experience with their Tiger Wall wetting through and wetting out, and the price tag on Big Agnes it's up there, like $50 to $100 more than comparable type of shelters out there on the market. However, after sleeping in this and using this particular shelter, I'm honestly surprised at how much I enjoyed it and how much value I see in the product that they have created here. So you've got amazing storage options within the shelter itself. You got a big 3D pocket, you've got ceiling storage, things that just make sense for people that are not looking to go crazy lightweight, but want something that is going to be comfortable. And the Copper Spur, like, I am definitely surprised at how much I have enjoyed this, and it is absolutely worth the investment in my opinion. And I'm going to be taking it out in a couple weeks in the winter, and I can't wait to use it. Like, I'm so psyched to be able to take it out. Jumping into the next item, this is one of my favorite pieces of gear of all time. I take this with me regardless of the trip. This is the Helinox Chair Zero, and if you have not taken a chair with you into the backcountry, or if you think that that is not worthwhile, then I implore you to reconsider your thinking, because this is a great thing to have in camp when you get done from a long day, and just to be able to sit and lean back and relax and just take that strain off of your back. Super comfortable. It's a really great item to take and worth the investment, because you get down to 1 pound with this particular chair, and it is high quality. So I've not had any rips or issues or holes, and it's held up to a lot of abuse over many trips at this point. Let's talk about some insulation for sleeping, and I'm going to talk about a sleeping bag and a quilt. The first we'll talk about is a quilt. This is the Bandit Top Quilt from UGQ, and I've talked about this quilt many times. I absolutely love the Bandit from UGQ. This is a fantastic quilt. It is not the most budget friendly, like you're going to spend more than $200 on average for a Bandit, regardless of how you spec it out. But it is very much worth the investment. I've been so surprised at the quality, the stitching, and the customer service from UGQ is just fantastic. It's a really, really great product, and this is worth the investment. And you're supporting a family-owned business when you purchase a UGQ product, which is really fantastic. So I'll share with you another sleeping bag that kind of surprised me as I was able to test and use it over some trips this year, and camping trips, family camping and whatnot. This is the Hyperion 20 degree. I also have the 32 degree version from Thermarest. So this is a really well thought out sleeping bag that has your pad straps here on the back of the bag. And I've just been so impressed at how lightweight it is, but it's also pretty roomy on the inside. It's comfortable, packs down super small, and it's not crazy claustrophobic like you get with some mummy style sleeping bags, but it's been very warm, very comfortable. This fabric is very soft, and this is a bag that has surprised me at how much I've enjoyed it. When I've been sleeping primarily in Sierra Design sleeping bags, I wanted to try the Thermarest, and I've very, very much enjoyed what this has provided for a sleeping experience in the backcountry. So I'm going to quickly discuss, and you guys know that I absolutely love the Soto Windmaster. This is a $70 stove, but this is hands down probably the best stove that you can buy on the market. I'm going to stand behind that because it's very high quality and has yet to fail me in any way, shape, or form. This is a fantastic product and absolutely worth that $70 investment. The next thing that we'll talk about is a $35-ish titanium pot from Toaks. This is the 550 milliliter. And the reason I picked this up after using the 700 milliliter for so long is I've been doing a lot more dehydrated freeze-dried meals, particularly from Peak Refuel, but I only need less than 2 cups of water. And so this has been the best lightweight and reliable cookware for me to use. I absolutely love the 550, and it's a great, great addition to my backpacking setup. I paired it for a good amount of time this year with my Trail Designs Caldera Cone, and this is another piece of gear that I think is worth the investment if you are looking to jump into alcohol stoves and have something that is really simple and basic to use. So I did the Kojin stove with the kit. It's about $45 for this, but it's absolutely been a treat to use the Caldera Cone, and I've really, really enjoyed using it on the trail this year. The last piece of gear that I'm going to talk about that has been a great investment for me this year is the Zoleo satellite communication device. You might think, okay, that's odd for you to talk about a satellite device in quality gear for you to invest in, but this has been incredibly reliable and one of the best experiences that I've had with a satellite device. Just hands down a great experience. So about $200 for you to get the device, and then different pricing options past that for your monthly subscription. But it's been reliable, easy to use, a very polished app user experience, and all of those things combined have made this just a quality piece of gear that I take with me every single time I head out into the backcountry. Even if I think I'm going to have cell service, I still take this with me for that sense of security, to be able to activate SOS if something does happen to my phone, and I can still seek help at any time with a standalone device in that way. So guys, I know that is a big list of gear. That's a lot of different gear items that are kind of random, and I talked a lot about how much I love them and how good they are. I didn't talk about negative things, and that's not really what this video was about, even though there are negatives to these items. they're just quality pieces of gear that I've really, really enjoyed. So I've got a list of all of these items with links for you to check them out yourselves down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Hope you have an awesome day. Catch you on the next video. See you later.